Hello friend, my name is Kiri, and today we are going to be talking about Perils of Man, which was gifted to me on Steam by Plasmic, so thank you. Released in 2014 and developed by IF Games on the Unity engine, Perils of Man tells the story of Swiss teenager Anna Eberling. The game starts on Anna's 16th birthday, where she receives a mysterious present from her father, who is supposed to be dead as he went missing 10 years prior. She takes this as a sign to start looking into his death/disappearance by exploring the mansion that she lives in, as well as a secret laboratory she discovers is underneath it. This is where she finds a special set of goggles called the Risk Atlas that allows her to see and move through time, as well as a talking mechanical bird named Darwin that uses the same sort of technology so she can communicate with her great ×3 grandfather, Thomas. We are going to start with how the game started, which was with a really cool tribute to the Twilight Zone. I actually think it was supposed to be a hybrid between the Twilight Zone and Modern Mysteries, but I think Modern Mysteries isn't the right name, and I think I'm confusing Modern Marvels with something else. Anyways, the scripting was absolutely perfect, the voice acting was fantastic, and the way that just the opening scene delivered itself was just freaking on point. Though after that, it did feel a little rushed and uninspired for a while. What with Anna being given this vial from her dead father to suddenly noticing that this really important painting in her mansion looks really weird all of a sudden, to the burning lampshade in her father's study, it felt like the writers were running goalpost to goalpost with no mind for pacing. But once you get into the secret laboratory and you start unraveling the story, it gets so good. The pacing finally slows down, the story actually gets pretty damn deep, and there is a plot twist at the end that is worthy of a damn Maori episode, I swear. Seriously, this was a very immersive story that I had a lot of fun experiencing. If I really were to complain about anything, it would be the lack of choices in the game, because decision making and, taking risks, that is a huge part to the story. Throughout the game, we're told how being obsessed with avoiding risks will lead to an unhappy, unfulfilled life where really you don't get to live. And I kept waiting and waiting for a point in the story where we can make a decision, where we can choose for ourselves to live a full and happy life as a normal person, or to live a life that we know we'll never be hurt, that we'll never be harmed because we will avoid all of the risks. This is just one of those games that 100% needed to have multiple endings, some sort of twist factor, and multiple routes, because that's what the base plot is entirely centered around. So not having it almost felt like the game was almost incomplete. This is a 2.5 point-and-click game, which means that there is pretty much no keyboard functionality. It's all on the mouse, and the only key that actually does anything is the escape key, which will take you into the in-game menu. This is also a very difficult point-and-click game because the things that you need are usually very well hidden, to the point where you kind of just need to drag your mouse along the screen in every room that you're in to make sure you don't miss anything, because like the coat hanger in the very beginning, I didn't even see it the first time I played it. I had to go through a walkthrough and see what the hell I was missing. And most of the puzzles were not clear in the slightest. I had to heavily rely on a walkthrough because a lot of the puzzles just did not make sense. There was no hand-holding in the game, there was no tutorial, it just threw you in. And a lot of the puzzles or the things you needed to solve, I don't understand how we were supposed to figure some things out, like holding the little tube that we're given from our father up to a particular part in the sky to see that it's not actually a vial or whatever the hell we thought it was, but it's actually a key mold. There were just too many points in the story where I was thinking, how the was I supposed to figure that out? That was really the biggest mistake that the developers made with creating this game. They thought that we were omniscient like they were, and we're obviously not. The developers didn't take into consideration that they know everything there is to know about this game because they made it. Whereas the consumer, people like me who are playing this game for the first time, we have had no prior experience with this game whatsoever. So these puzzles, like taking helium balloons and attaching them to a coat hanger, I don't understand how we were supposed to know that that would help with the generator. And like, I don't understand how we were supposed to know what order to give our mom her boots in, because you give her her warm boots after turning the thermostat to like super cold, so she gets up to go change the thermostat so you can get your house key because your mom is crazy and locked you in the house and stole your house key. But at no point did she ever say that the house key was in the chair. We just knew that she took it. So, and if you don't do it in the right order, you have to start all over again. And that really just made the game incredibly frustrating. The game is also pretty damn buggy, and in the very beginning of the game, when you fix the little box where you talk to ghosts, you can have your father's ghost talk to you, and he tells you everything about like his experiments and the stuff, and he also gives you a number combination for the clock, the grandfather clock that is in his study. But because that did not play for me because the game bugged out, no matter how many times I restarted the game, I even uninstalled the game and reinstalled it and it still didn't play for me. I pretty much just had to guess. Also, if I clicked out of the game too many times, the game would crash, and it didn't have like a windowed mode, so that kind of sucked too. I absolutely adored the visual style taken with Perils of Man. It's very Tim Burton-y, and I just really like the exaggerated features associated with this style. However, as visually appealing as the game itself was, the cinematics were an absolute eyesore. The frame rate might as well have been in the single digits, the movements were blurry, the eyeballs had a habit of clipping into the eyelids, and the resolution dropped to like 360p max. Though the rest of the game looked pretty damn nice. Each of the characters were different, though I feel like the biggest issue with the visuals part is just that everything was entirely forgettable. Anna wasn't exactly the most unique character out there. Thomas just looked like any old man. And even the world design, it looked very nice. It was all sharp. It all had like a nice steampunky feel to it almost, but it just all was very forgettable. Nothing stood out. Nothing was really, oh, that's the first time I've ever seen that before. Okay, so in all actuality, this was a very fun game. I had a lot of fun playing it. The story had a crap ton of potential, but that was just kind of it. The story had potential. The game had potential, but it didn't really boom. And it only takes about 3 hours to get through, 5 if you're not using a walkthrough and this is your very first time playing. I would suggest people to get this because, like I said, this is a very entertaining game. I just don't suggest getting it at the full price it sells for, which I think is $10. If anything, I would wait for it to go on sale during the next big Steam sale and then picking it up then, because when Plasmic gifted it to me, I think it was only about $2 or $3, which is perfect. That's if I were to buy the game, I would buy it at $2 or $3. I just wouldn't buy it any higher than that. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Perils of Man. Have you played it? Did it ignite the feelings of a mad scientist within you? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, you can find all of my social media and my Patreon in the description. Happy unbirthday, and I'll see you later. Bye! The creators of older anime couldn't find work because they couldn't keep up with trends, so they had to move to porn? I don't get it. Why do they all look like they were created in like 2001? Anyways, like I said earlier, at first it was kind of interesting to have a new type of character to watch, but after episodes like 1 or maybe 2, it just got, it just became obnoxious and annoying, and I was really hoping that they would